I can't wait. Got a very, very important comedian here. He's pretty much royalty. He's a celebrity. Here he is, Erik Kuska.
Wow. Okay. Royalty. I don't know about that. Hey, if you look around, this is a kid's space. They do a lot of artwork around here, which explains why we have a 2 Capri Sun minimum tonight. Need to start drinking that Pacific Cooler. Okay, anyways, when I was a kid, look, we all have dreams, and when I was a kid, my dream was to go into space, was to be an astronaut. And that was a little bit difficult because this was like the 70s, and I was living in rural Idaho, and we didn't have computers, and we didn't have TV. So I went to the library, and I found the only book I'd need to be the best astronaut of all time. The Charlie Brown Book of Space Almanac. And let me tell you, this book, it was incredible. They had like interviews with former astronauts. They had pictures of planets and spaceships. They had funny cartoons. I mean, it was like the whole package. And I didn't read the whole thing, but I quickly ascertained like 3 skills I need to have to be the best astronaut. The first one was I knew astronauts in space needed to eat. And everyone thinks like, oh, I'm just going to bring the knife and fork up there. Wrong, because like, you have a floating knife up there, that's like a puncture risk. So you need, I started thinking like, okay, how am I going to do this? So on Earth, like whenever I had a chance to have tater tots, or Skittles, or raisins, I catch them with my mouth. Tater tots. Great Skittles. Raisins. Yeah, I didn't like raisins. But you got the idea. I had excellent mouth food coordination skills. So I was a third of the way there. The next thing I knew I had to do, I realized on Earth they have special technology. And it's wood, hammer, and nails. But you don't have that in space. So I had to think, like, what do they have up there? They have Velcro, and they have hex nuts. So being a farm kid on Idaho, I had to recreate the space environment the best I could. So during the summer, I would, in my jean denim cutoff shorts, I'd put on my moon boots, and then my winter gloves, and my little Velcro strap there. And I would do this like spacewalk across my dad's gravel driveway to his abandoned horse trailer. And they had this little ball hitch which goes on the end of the truck. And I'd work the ball hitch and I would adjust it so it tightened and it would loosen. And I got all my hex nut skills down. I was 2/3 the way there now. The third and final thing, this is probably the most important, is I realized all the astronauts, they have no emotion. They could lock it down. And so I worked really hard as a kid to never show emotions in time of like elation, And I was like, I had it down. And so like, by that time, by age 12, I was a perfect candidate. Almost perfect. I was afraid of heights. But that didn't matter. Because I was just focused like on the emotion thing. And so for the next 12 years, whenever I was in a state of like emotional elation, like a surprise party, I'd lock it down. You're promoted. We're having sex. My partners often were like, whoa, what's going on, Erik? Are you with this? Are you into me? Or what's going on? I'd be like, huh? No, I'm thinking about space. Because I was always focused on space. You don't understand, it's not about this, it's about space. So I quickly realized my partners gave me a lot of it. For the next 14 years. That's okay, because I was just focused on that, and eventually NASA did call. I was serious. And on February 23rd, 1998, I was part of the Endeavour shuttle crew. We went up into space. It was great. It was a good liftoff. We had a good orbit. There was another first-time astronaut. People don't know this. That's why I'm telling you now. There's another first-time astronaut. Her name was Lieutenant Tina Martinez. And after we were orbiting, we met in the cabin, and we're just like, I'm so excited. And she was like, so am I. We didn't show it though. You didn't look that down. But like that next morning when we woke up in orbit, the sun came over the Gulf of Tonkin, and it was just stunning. And later we would dock with the space station, and we met these cosmonauts, Yuri and Karov, and they're just such nice gentlemen, you know? And that next day, on the private line, I got a call from the editor from Scholastic. And it was the publisher of the Charlie Brown Space Almanac calling to tell me they were doing a new volume, and they wanted to profile me in it. And I was just like, after 26 years of this, I smiled. It was like mission accomplished. I finally made it. It was finally worth it. And I was so happy that nothing else that would happen in life, it wouldn't matter. It didn't even matter that there was a red blinking light on the control panel over here. It was going like bam, 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 bam. It mattered to astronaut Martinez, and it mattered to the cosmonauts. They were like, Astronaut Kuska, are you going to address this? And I did. I was like, guys, okay, it's a G28. That's a hardware malfunction on this. Oh, there was an external panel on the south side of the space station. That was my jurisdiction. I was going to be able to do my first spacewalk, to repair the hex nut. And I was so excited. And I was getting my spacesuit on, doing my first spacewalk, and Martinez opened the space hatch, and I was like, this is one small step for man. And I jumped out of the shuttle, and I was floating in space. This is so incredible because I realized right then and there, as I was floating, that I was still afraid of heights. And I was so scared. And I was kicking and punching. It would later be described as what it looks like when you hold a cat over a fire. Those weren't my words, those are the cosmonauts in the deposition. But I was kicking, I was flying around, I was crying, and tears were floating around the helmet. And I was hyperventilating. More tears and everything. Help me! Please help me! And I passed out. I woke up in a hospital room in Cape Canaveral. And the doctor told me, he's like, everything was okay. They had to abort the mission 3 days short. And apparently, NASA had spent a lot of money removing me from any type of media and record books. And they even talked to the people at Scholastic and made that disappear.
That's terrible.
The worst part of it was that I had accrued, NASA had accrued a $1.3 trillion suit cleaning bill due to the excessive bodily fluids that were released inside my helmet, which was later described as what it looked like to watch a man drown in a snowball of sadness. Again, those weren't my words, those are the Russians. They were very poetic people. But what I want to just say to you tonight is, if you have a dream, I want you to take a step towards it. For me, it took an abandoned horse trailer and some Skittles and a lot of awkward, uncomfortable sex. But you too, maybe through those things or some other trial, you too can have a mission accomplished. I just want to thank you very much.